Welcome to a quick introduction to Canonic. In this video, I'll just be walking through the platform by creating a simple app. Here in front of me, I have an empty project that I just created. On the left, I have pages, data sources, and workflows. Pages are just like any other web page that you can deploy on the web. Data sources allow you to create custom tables inside a database in a completely low code and no code manner. And workflows allow you to run automations that can connect to a variety of data sources and services. So you can both read and write data. So let's just see how all of this comes together. Let's create a quick table. Let's call it template. So as you can see, it created a quick table. I can start by now creating a few fields. Let's give this template a name and a prompt. So let's keep it simple, just as two fields. Let's quickly deploy the project. This takes the entire project and then deploys it on our infrastructure so that you can access it. It also unlocks the CMS, which is like a content management system built around the data source that you define here. So if we look at a template, let's just go ahead and create one. As you can see, the form that I get for creating the CMS is based on the data itself. So let me name this sample and speak like a pirate. So that's it. So now we have this entry in this database that we just created. Now let's use workflows to connect this to OpenAI. Call it OpenAI request. As you can see, the moment I create one, I can see it's being triggered by an API and there's a step. So for this step, I want to query the database. So I'm just going to use a quick function. This is simple Mongo queries. So we want to find the template with a particular name. So I can define it as an input here. So now when I try testing it, I can see that I'm getting the data that I just created on the CMS. Now let's add another step to make an API call to OpenAI. I'm going to create a chat completion. Let me get the token. Let's try GPT 3.5 Turbo. We want to send a user message. Now to send the message, we want to send the template prompt as well as our own input. So let's access the template prompt. That's the first node. We want to access the output prompt, and then we want to send the input prompt after that. So that should configure our API. Let's quickly test it. So you can see that I'm getting a response from OpenAI. run that. Now I can see we're getting a response by OpenAI, and it's combining both the template as well as the prompt that we're providing it over here. So now let's add an output now, so that what we get as the overall output is the content over here. So we'll just create a quick output node. And we want to return the second node's output. Content. So that should return the specific string. Let's see if that works. Yep, there you go. So as you can see, we've created a workflow that walks us through by querying our own database that we just created, as well as OpenAI, combining the two to give you a final output. Now let's see how we can leverage this on the front end. So let's create a new page. Let's do some basic UI. Now we want to collect the template that the user wants to select, as well as the input that the user wants to provide. Now let's stack these up so that they're all responsive and nice. A bit, and then we finally need a button to submit all of this. So let's call the button submit. Let's configure this epic template. And we want the options to be dynamically fetched from our templates. So we pick the relevant endpoint. Now templates returns name and prompt. We want to pass the label key. And since we're using the name for the fetching of the data on the back end, we'll keep the value key as name as well. Similarly, we have the prompt from the user. Keep it neat. Now as you can see, I'm getting my sample template. Now we want to make an API call whenever there's a click on the button. So let's add a handler. We want to trigger on click, and we want to set a variable. The variable is response. It's an arbitrary value. But the value that we'd want to set it is the response from the API request. So I put that in. Now before I can go forward, I need to define my inputs. So the input would be prompt and template. Oh, name. So now if we come back here, we can configure the inputs. Now the prompt comes from the rich text input that I just created. So I just go there and I want its value. So I can see hi there coming in. The name of the template comes from the regular text component. Sorry, not the text component. The value comes from a regular drop-down component. And that's it. As you can see, I'm getting the relevant output here. So now let's just create a simple way to display this output. So let's add another text field. And let's add the response below it. The response would simply be variables dot response dot output. As you can see now, when I click the button, I'm getting the response there. Now some final touches to make it all responsive. Just snap this together, just quickly test everything. So I want to make sure the container is responsive. That's it. Let's see. Yep. Now we can just deploy the app and we're good to go. So now if I go in to my preview, you can see that I have the app ready. Let me pick the sample. Let me add let's import wrap some method. As you can see, we got a response right there. If I want to just add a quick max width there, that'll just ensure it's all nice and responsive. Let's add the piratey voice. As you can see, it's all working fine. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.